Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. Did a couple of videos recently. Spur people's thinking, your thinking, generate some commentary. And there's a lot of talk about revolution, civil war. Don't need a weatherman to see which way the wind blows. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Revolution, civil war, and you. Cue the intro. Boom. Boom. All right, we're back. Hey. A lot of talk on a couple of my videos along the lines of, if Hillary steals the election, well, I'm going to take my gun and exercise my Second Amendment rights. Or I'll be marching on D.C. Or words to that effect. Go back and read the comments. I'm going to tick some of you off. It's not my intent to tick you off. It's because I care about you that I'm going to tell you these things. Writing on a public forum that you're going to take your firearm and march on D.C. is a stupid thing to do. Talking about exercising your Second Amendment rights with like, what I mean is I'm going to do violence. There are people out there, there are probably programs out there that monitor websites, forums, and things. And when people say things like that, I bet you it gets attention. Get you put on a list. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. You might care someday. I talk frequently about emotion versus logic, right? Acting on just blah versus When times get hard, when emergencies happen, when your plane crashes into the Amazon and you live, this is not the time to get emotional. This is the time to use your noggin. Engage your brain before you engage your mouth, or your fingers in this case. Tough guy talk will get you killed in some places. Think about it. But I've been seeing, not just on this channel, but elsewhere, I peruse the web, right? There is an undercurrent. That's why I said you don't need a weatherman to tell which way the wind blows. There's an undercurrent out there of people talking about revolution and civil war. And mostly, it's probably more due to the fact of what sites I go to than anything else. Mostly that's coming from what we call the right wing, your right, my left, conservative, libertarian, whatever, that side. Those are the people that I see talking about it. Maybe the left's talking about it. But you see comments like, yeah, they protest, but we shoot rifles. They got Glocks, but I got a 30-06. I mean, I see comments like that. Talking revolution. So here's what I want you to think about, not necessarily emote about. Who are you going to go revolt against? You see, in the American Revolution, there was the Continental Congress, and then they grabbed George Washington and said, lead our army, and so there was a focal point, right? March to the sound of the guns? No, you march to the sound of Congress and your general, and everybody goes there, and then it goes from there. It wasn't a bunch of militiamen, minutemen, grabbing their rifle and just running hither and non. It's got to be some organization. There has to be some planning. I'm not planning it. Are you? So when you say you're going to grab your rifle and go, where are you going to go? Who are you going to shoot? It's a rhetorical question, by the way, if you didn't pick up the first part of this video. I mean, you're going to go shoot cops? Half the cops probably voted like you did. How do you know which one voted what? You don't. You're going to go storm the Congress? Well, that's going to work real well. Not. I mean, it's just dumb thinking. And it saddens me when I see it, because these are people in the main who are thinking like I do politically, right? They value the things I value in many cases on this side. And then I see these dumb comments. Civil War, the war of northern aggression. There were focal points. You know, the North had an army, so go sign up at your local recruiting office. The South formed armies, but they had a Congress, if you will, that formed. Now, I could see, and I don't see it happening, but you know, we're writing a book here, right? Something happens, the election gets stolen by Trump. Trump goes into, you know, wherever he goes and blows the bugle, sounds the shofar, rallies the troops around him, establishes things. Okay, a civil war could go like that. It would make a decent novel, right? But as far as you just as a lone each going somewhere and doing something, you're going to be as effective as a lone each, which is not very. This is not Pastor Joe Fox's call to form the Second Continental Congress or whatever somebody would call it. And you know, the articles of, what was that called? They did that back in the 80s. A group of people got together and signed some document basically saying they were withdrawing from the United States or something. They were like really right-wing people. And I think a lot of them ended up going to jail, right? What's that? I heard that phrase in a movie too because I watch a couple of movies. Punks stand up to get knocked down or something like that. Gotta be smarter. You gotta be smarter. Revolutions can and do happen. They don't happen overnight. They don't happen out of, you know, the formers of it, the key people getting all emotional and screaming about what they're gonna do. It happens on the down low. I was talking to somebody last night and talking about, you know, preppers, survivalists, mostly of the Christian variety, if you will. That's my dog trying to get in through a glass door because it's cold outside. So ignore him. Versus the Illuminati, New World Order, right? And it's like, man, the Illuminati knows who they are and they're going to go after the key people right away. Maybe. And then this person opined that they hoped that there were some really wealthy, rich preppers out there who had a vision towards taking care of lots of people, and they were keeping it on the down low. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I know that there's rich preppers out there that are thinking about taking care of them and theirs. I think you're on your own. You know, when the Patriots in 1775 were meeting, you know, in the meeting hall above the taverns and stuff and plotting revolution, the Brits didn't have a whole lot of spies in their midst while they were plotting it, right? And so, I mean, they knew it was coming and they knew there was unrest in the colonies, but they didn't have a whole lot of tentacles and antennas in there. Right now, with the way this technology right here is, man, if you emit electronically, they've got it. And if you know, well beyond the scope of this, go do some research if you're of a mind on network analysis. Read, understand. Purpose of this video. There very well could be a revolution or civil war coming at some time in the future. It ain't happening in the next couple months, guaranteed. Man, can't guarantee anything, but you know, that's my educated opinion. So that's one. Think the long thoughts. And number two, quit saying dumb things. You know, you can tell me, I'll kick your butt, Pastor Joe. Okay, whatever. But if you issue a threat to a federal authority or institution, that's a threat, by the way. Dudes in suits or ninjas, you know, in body armor with M4s are coming to have a little chit-chat with you. Is that what you really want? How effective is that? Use your brain, not your mouth. Think the long thoughts. And I guess I don't want to finish there, because that's kind of a bummer. That's kind of like yelling at people. That's like dad telling people. I did a video one time. I don't even know what it was about, but I called it "Pull Your Head Out and Have a Look Around." I should go back and look at that video. What can you do? You're mad as hell and you're not going to take it anymore, and you don't like the way the country's going. Start getting involved locally with people. Think instead of running your mouth. Get yourself ready. You know, I was a volunteer firefighter for 10 years, and they kind of beat into you. It doesn't do any good racing to a fire and getting in a wreck on your way there, because now you've created a second incident, right? It doesn't do any good to run into a burning building with no hope of success and now you're a casualty too. Don't create another problem. You cannot help anybody else if you haven't helped yourself. But we should be thinking more than the selfish rich guy that I use him as an example. And I'm not saying all rich people are selfish, just I use it as an example. You should get yourself and yours squared away, and then you should start thinking bigger. There are people in southern Missouri, organizations that are getting together once a week, starting to chit chat, starting to talk about things, starting to say, hey, how can I help you? How can you help me? We don't have to agree on everything. You know, the way you worship God and the way I worship God are a little bit different, but we don't have to stress on that. Let's just, how can we be cool to each other? What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about this? They're not playing G.I. Joe. They're not like, yeah, let's form a militia and go do this thing. They're just getting together and talking. They're getting organized. You get organized face to face. Can you use 21st century technology? Absolutely. But know this, if you're using it, somebody's watching it, everything you're doing. They're at your meeting. I was talking to this person last night about, because he said, you know, you tell people a lot to start talking to people, and a lot of people are uncomfortable talking to people. And that's a hard thing to take on board. I'm an introvert. I've trained myself to be like this. You can do it. You know, just start practicing talking to people. Find something they want to talk about and let them talk. Add in germane comments. Keep your brain focused on the conversation. Listen to what they're saying and just let the conversation go back and forth. Practice. But the whole point of that is you need to start working with people. You need to start making your circles bigger. Make your circles bigger. If there's a revolution coming, you're going to want a big circle. All right. Do with that what you want. I want to see your comments. I'll see you out there.